Welcome back to Ayaz Tech. In this video, you are going to learn that how to build a dual list box with JavaScript. So this is a quick demo you can see here. We have two lists left and right, and we have action buttons in the middle. So if you can change the order of your list items by selecting any option and click on the down arrow or up arrow. So in this way you can change order in any of these lists, and further you can move elements from left to right by clicking on this arrow, and if you want to move it back then click on the this arrow, and if you want to move all of the items from left to right just click on the forward button, and if you want to move it back all of the items to the left just click on the backward icon, and if you want to delete few of the items then just select the element and click on the cross button that would remove the option from that list. So if you also want to learn how to build this, then please continue watching this video. So first of all, I will create a new file index.html, and then we'll add basic HTML5 code. And here we need three divs. One main div that would be parent, and three the child divs inside the parent. So center div would be for the action buttons. Okay, now here I will add the class container, and now we will add some basic styles. But before that, let's open it in the browser. So, okay. Now I will add internal style tag, and then I will add display flex to the container. Inside of these, I will add just dummy text just to see the layout. Okay. So now we need border to the list elements. So let's add the selector for the list, and I will add border 1 pixel solid, and padding should be 5 pixels, and width should be, let's say, 100 pixels, or maybe more than 100. Maybe we need 300 pixels. Okay, and we also need a gap between every element of the flex. For that, I will add gap. So you can see that the gap has been added. Now I need to add a fixed height to the list. Okay. Further, I want to bring it in the middle. Also, let's add some background color. So let's try this one. Okay, so now I'm going to bring the text, everything in the middle. So for that, let me add the width 100%, height under VH, and align items middle, center, justify content center. Now I will add the text color to white in the list. And I want the font family in this list. There should be another element that is div, and this is going to be called option, and this will have the text, and so on. So similarly, I will add these options on the right side as well. Okay, let's try. So now I will add some styles to it. For example, the font size should be increased, and also the padding top and bottom should be a bit more than now. Okay, I guess that is sufficient for now. Now I need to add the arrows, the buttons in the in the middle div, which are the action buttons. So, and let's find out the icon that we want. I need arrow top. I should just download the font awesome files from here. So let me download it from here. So I'm just going to use this file. So let's just drag and drop this file into the VS Code. Actually, I was using wrong name. So instead of top, I should have used up, down, and then I need left, right. Okay. So we have these icons. At the end, we need the cross icon. So let me see what is the name of cross icon. Okay, now I will style this element to align the buttons vertically. Actually, I should have button for every I tag. So that was the mistake. So let me add button. And now it is fine. I will style it a little bit further. For example, I want to add ju- uh, align items, uh, justify content space between. That did not work. So basically, I also need to add another div around this, all of these three elements. So I will add self align and stretch so that the center element could take the 100% space of the available area, and also I don't need to add the height here. Then I want to increase the sizes of the action buttons. Let's try to reduce the height of the list as well. Maybe 400. So inside the action buttons, every button should have a specific height. Okay. Now it's time for the action. So now I want to display all of this content from the JavaScript. So first of all, I have to create a new file. Okay, now in the script tag, I have to define two lists. I also need to create a function to render lists. So as soon as user call this function, it will take all of the data from the list 1 and list 2 and render them to the appropriate elements. I'm going to cut it and I will put it here for the reference. and we will use this one as a template. I will run a loop against list one. So, so we will concatenate list one HTML with this string that has the element for the option, and here I will add the item. Okay. At the end, once list is executed, we will have the final version of the list one HTML. We can then use it to load it in the proper element. So for example, if the ID of the element is list one, then we will insert it to that. I will add the ID list one, and then I will add the generated HTML into this element. Query selector list one dot inner HTML is equal to list one HTML. Okay. Similarly, we will do the same thing for the list two as well. Okay, now I need to add the content in the list two as well. So I am going to cut it, and I also need to add the list two ID to this list. All right, now we need to call this function to test if this is working. Right now you can see that there is no data in these two lists. So we will call it render list. So let's see. It did not work, and there might be some error in the console. It is saying that I misspelled. I did not use the correct spelling. So we should have used the same case. I was using the capital case for HTML, but here we used the small case for the HTML. So that's why it was mismatching, but now it is working. All right, now it is working. So after that, when user click on any of these, then it should select that element. So to make that possible, instead of having normal flat array of strings, I will convert them into the array of objects. So in this way, we will be able to track if option is selected or not. Okay, now in order to get the country, this time we have to add dot country. So because we have updated the structure of the array. And next, when user clicks on any of them, we need to select it. So here I will add a click on click event, and on that I will call I will set the name of a new function that would be select option, and in that I will pass two parameters. One is list one, and second one would be the index of the element that was selected. Okay, same thing for the second type of option as well, but this is for list two. So here I will create a function, select option, and list type, and second option would be the option index. Okay, So here we will also add a class selected, but that would be added based on a condition. So here I will check if item dot selected true, then selected class should be used. Otherwise, we will not put any class for this variable. So same thing for the second list as well. By the way, there is already a class attribute, so we should not create a new one. I would just use this one. Okay. So as soon as users select something, we immediately need to change the property selected to true for that option. So we first of all we would have to get that option. If so, let list is equal to uh, empty, and if list type is equal to list one, then list would become list one, else list would become list two. Okay, and then I would use that list dot I would pass the index of that option in that list, and then we will change the property selected is equal to true. Okay, and once that is done, I would call the render list function once again. So it would use the latest updated data from these two lists to do the same thing again. So let's test it. So I clicked on this, but nothing changed. The reason is that I did not add any style, but we can observe the class name that is being added. You can see whenever I click, selected class is added, but issue is that it does not remove the class from others. So whenever users select any option, we should remove the selected property from both of the list. So for that, I would execute a loop on both of these list one dot for each option dot selected false. So I would mark all of the options as false before setting true to one of those options. Okay. Now, if you inspect it, you will see that it will remove selected property from all of the other options, but it will add to one of them. So if you see, it has removed the selected property from the left list and it has added in the right list. Okay. Now we need to add some styles to the selected option. So I will check if option has selected class on it, then I will add background color. Actually, I already have that style, so I will just reuse it by adding this class here. So I'm saying that I need these styles for both of these cases on hover, and also if there is a class selected, then we should apply this style. So you can see that now it is selecting the option. So now we have to work on these buttons, action buttons. So first of all, I will work on this. So for example, this one is selected currently. And if user clicks on this arrow up icon, then it should move this option by one index up. So I also want to add the cursor pointer on the buttons. Okay, that's fine. So we also need to create a function or something to get the current selected option. So maybe I should create a new variable, let selected option. In this, I will add two properties, two values. One would tell the type of list. List type is equal to list one, and index would be zero, something like that. So by default, I would keep it undefined. So when user selects something, then I will change the value for that variable. So for example, when user select from here, I would say selected option is equal to this, and here I will add the option index, and also we can reuse the list type from parameter. Okay, selected option. So every time user change the option, then this value would also be updated. Now, if user want to move up, then we will call another function on click move up. And in this, for this, we will create another function. So first of all, we would have to remove the element from the list. So let us, first of all, we have to check if there is any selected option or not. So I will check if there is not selected option, then return false. It will not go down. So if selected option is found, then I will use those information, and let list is equal to selected option dot type is equal to list one. Then we should use list one, otherwise we will use list two. So I have used short ternary operator. Now I need to get the selected option. So the name of, and now I want to remove the selected option from the list. For that, I will do list dot splice, and here I will tell the index which I want to remove. So here I already have the index dot index, and I want to remove one item after it. So I I will show you that it will remove it immediately from the list. So I will re-render it, re-render list. So let's see if that works. I added the on-click event on the wrong element, so I should have added it here. Now it is fine. You can see that it is removing. So by default, I would remove the selected property. We don't need it by default. So for example, if user clicks, nothing is happening, but if user select something, then it will remove it. If I delete this one, then this one would also remove. But this is not what we want. We want to move it, not delete it. So first step was to delete it. We have deleted it, and here I will save the deleted option. Let deleted option, or you can call it option to move. This is the option that you want to move, and now I want to move it above the current position. So first of all, we will check if the index that we are deleting is not zero. So if index is greater than 1, that's mean it can be 2. So if it was 2 and you want to move it up, that's mean you want to move it to the position 0. And here I will add 2 index. 2 index is the index where we want to add, and we want to add -2, and here I will provide 0, and here I will provide the element that I want to move. Okay, now let's try that and see if that works or not. No, that is not working. Actually, option to move is in the array, so I have to um, get it from the 0 index, then it should work. So let us try. So this is not correct because this should go above the Austria, but it is going above the France. So maybe I should have used 1 here. Now let's try it again. Yeah, now it is working, you can see. So when you move it up, then you should replace it with the selected option. Okay, so here I am going to save the new index in a variable. Okay, and so I will change the values of the selected option dot index is equal to new index. Okay, now let's try again. Denmark, yeah, it is going above, but it does not go above here. So we have to check what is the issue. Maybe it should be greater than 0, then it is fine. Okay, once it reaches to this point, it will not let it go inside this block, and there should not be any error because of this if condition. Okay, so you can see that it is working perfectly fine. Now we have to implement the same thing for the arrow down as well. So now I will copy paste the same function, move down, and here I will add plus instead of 0, and here we have to change the condition a little bit. So if selected index is the last index, then it should not call this code, okay, because it is already on the last index. For example, Denmark is already on the last index. You cannot move it down further, so you have to stop that behavior. For that I will check if selected index is equal to the list dot length -1. That would give you the last index, or maybe I should save it in a variable, let last index. So you can say that if selected option index is equal to last index, or you can call it in opposite direction, that if it is not the last index, then call this function, otherwise don't run these lines. Okay, let us try it now. So for example, I move it up. I did not call this function yet, so it will not work. Let's add it here. On click, move down, and now let's test it. You can see it is working, and it is working in both direction. Now you can move it anywhere. Similarly, it should work for this one. Okay. Next thing is that we have to move elements from one list to the second list. Okay. So here I will call a function on click move option. So whatever option is selected, it will move it to the left from the right. And Here I'm passing an indicator that would tell us that we want to send it from right to left. Uh, so arrow direction is to the left, so that's mean it is from right to left. From left, and we have the forward icon. It the meaning of this button is it would move all of the options to the right list. Or maybe here, instead of using from right, I would just say left. So that's would tell me that I want to move option to the left. So so we will understand from it that we want to move it from left to right, or left or right to left. Okay. So move all option to the right. I want to move all option to the right. And in this button, I want to move all options to the left. And in this button, I want to remove the selected option. Okay. We have to create all of these functions one by one. So first of all, move option. Here I will use a generic function, and I will add the word letter H. H mean horizontal. That's mean we want to move left to right or right to left. So that's why I used this term. So let us create this function here. Here the parameter name would be direction. So if direction is left, then move from right to left. And not only that, we also have to check that we have to run any logic only if option is selected. If not, then we should return false. Okay, so if direction is left, then I would use the let option to move is equal to, and we also have to select the list. So here I will use if direction is left, then we want to move it from, actually, so if we want to move to the left from the right, then that's mean we need to use list2 dot splice selected option dot index dot one, and I want to use get the option that is being removed, and now I want to push that option to the end of the array of the list one. Okay, and I will copy paste this code, move from left to right, and here I will use list one, and here I will use list two. Let's try if that works. So I have added it inside this function that is not correct. I have to add it here. Now at the end, I have to call the render list function that would refresh the layout. So for example, I want to move it to the right. You can see that this option is moved here, and you can move it back to the left list as well. So then mark right or left. If you move it to the left, it is not working correctly for me. So the reason is that when you move it to the right, you have to update the details of the selected option property, because remember, in the selected option property we were saving some details about the list type, for example here. So when it is moved to the right, then list type of this option is list 2, not list 1. So we have to take care of that thing as well. So here you will say we have to update the selected option every time. Selected option is equal to index selected option dot index, and the list type should become list 1, because now this option is part of list 1, not list 2. Same thing for else part as well. Let's try. uh, it has gone to the right. If I click on that again, it did not move it back. There is something wrong. By the way, the index is also updated, so we cannot use the same index. So here the index would be the last index. So list 1 dot length minus 1. This would give me the last index. Similarly, this would happen here as well. Okay, now it is working perfectly fine. So if you move it to the right, we can move it to the back. So you want to move this one to the left, you can do that. So we should avoid it. If nothing is selected, then it should not move it to the left. So for example, you want to move it from right to left, then there has to be something selected on the right list. So here I will add another check, and selected option dot list type list 2. Similarly, here I would have to add the else if. Now you will see that if nothing is selected from the right list, then you cannot move anything from right to left. Um, So now it is working fine. After that, I have to move all of the items if user clicks on the move all button. in order to move it to the other list, it is very simple. So you just have to use the direction from the parameter. So if direction is left, then you have to empty the list2 into the list1. Let list1 is equal to list1 and list2. Okay, and then you have to empty the list2 because we want to move everything from the list, and we will do the opposite in the other case. So here I will use list2, list2, list1 and list1. So let us try this one, but before that we have to render it again. Okay, now let's try. You can see that it has moved all of the options to the right, and you can use this one to move all options to the left. Now we have to fix the layout a little bit because it is overflowing. We should have some auto scroll vertically. So this is a list. Inside the list, I will add overflow y auto. Now you can see that if I add all of them, you can easily scroll them to find the other options. So at the end, I want to implement the delete option. So you can delete any option from any list. So for that, we have to call this function remove selected option. So it is also very simple. Just create this function, and here I have to get the list based on the list type of the selected option. So I will use list dot splice and selected option dot index dot. In this way, it will remove the option from the list. And after that, I want to re-render the list. Let us see if that works. It is not working. And once selected option is removed, we should set it undefined because now nothing is selected. But it is not working. Let us look at the inspect element console to see if there are any errors. I don't see any errors. So I guess I should have used one here. Still not working. So let's go to the script and I will add a breakpoint here to see what is going on here. Our function is not being called at all. Oops, I did a mistake. I should have added it here. I added on the closing tag of button earlier. So now let's try it again. I don't need this now. Now it is working fine. So you can easily delete any option from any list. It will just work for you. And now if you want to move anything to the right, you can use it.